Hey, David here with Guide Recommended. Today I'm going to do a box opening of the Temple Fork BVK. This is the size 2. It actually comes in 5 different sizes, 0 through 3 plus. So we're going to open this guy up. We're going to review the components, the drag, switching it right to left, retrieve. I'll probably even see how it balances out with the rod I'm going to use it with, which is the TFO Drift. So it's the kind of drift fly rod specially designed for high sticking and Euro nymphing. So again, let's check out the BVK by Temple Fork. All right, so let's get into it. I'll do some kind of close-ups of the BVK, kind of typical to what, let me just do a little adjustment here. Close-ups, so we'll get this guy open. So it's the BVK Series Fly Reel by Temple Fork. It, like I was saying, comes in 3 different sizes. This is the 2. Again, this should kind of fit well with the drift fly rod I'm going to be using. This on balances out. So it's probably a little bit larger arbor size than typical for a rod, a 3-weight rod that the drift is, but because of the extra length on the drift fly rod, I'm going with a little bit larger reel in order to get that balance. So once I get it on the rod, you'll kind of see the balance. So extremely lightweight, large arbor. So what do they mean when they say lightweight? The BVK2 is actually 4.9 ounces. So it's like the size 5/6 reel. If you were to kind of put the reel kind of rod size into it, so a 5/6 weight rod is what it's really designed for. Again, a little bit heavier because of the extra length. I'm going to be using it on the drift rod. Large arbor, machined aluminum, anodized, right-left conversion. So we're going to go through that. We'll take a look at the drag as well. So what comes in this box? BVK comes with a pouch. Here, this is some kind of neat. There is actually enough room to lay your rod in there, so I'll demonstrate that in a little bit. It is like a sage green anodized aluminum. You can see that there. Very, very classy finish. It's going to go well with the green of my fly rod. You can see the Drift 2 BVK. Also has, I think you can see it there, the TFO emblem on the bottom of the reel. So nice and shiny and new. What else comes in the box? Oh, we got the parts and how to put it together, take it apart, parts list. So pretty straightforward. A lot of this we won't get into as far as tearing apart the drag. It's got a sealed drag, so pretty well maintenance free. We'll get into playing with the spool, removing the spool, and changing right to left. Alright, so there's that. There's this. So removing the spool, it's that typical little lever. So you'll take that guy off, flip it down, and you can see the insides of the spool. So way deep in there, you can see the little white is the clutch bearing that it uses for the anti-reverse, the drag mechanism. Well, this is nice. The internal to this machine piece is our drag. So usually when you see this type of setup, it is a sealed drag, and I know this is a sealed drag, so good for saltwater. Again, whenever you fishing in the salt, even with a sealed drag system, rinse it off. Warm water, maybe some mild detergent, not real necessary, but warm water. Toothbrush, if you get some buildup, an old toothbrush will really help it out. Again, it's got that positive click sound on the drag. You'll see these small indents actually interface with this little plastic button here, so it gives it a little bit of sound when you're when line's going out or in, right? So you can hear it. Getting it by my mic here. but out or in. So that's what gives it that little click. If you like that screaming sound when you get on hook into a big fish. So maintenance wise, you know what, let's get some stats of this guy. So the BVK2 diameter, the diameter is 3 3/4 inches. So it's a pretty big, large arbor reel, right? The width is about 1.3 inches, 1.3. So weight we talked about is 4.9 ounces. Again, pretty light for the size of this reel. A lot of that has to do with all of the porting. You can see all this is ported in the spool. The frame is, let me get this spool off. Frame again is super ported, right? You got all this area that really reduces the weight considerably. Machined aluminum, so that's what gives it the ability to have such a nice lightweight. So, all right, so capacity, you can put, as listed, 200 yards of backing. 200 yards, that's a lot of backing, everybody. And a typical 6-weight line. So I very seldom will ever put, unless you're talking about salt water, do I get into 200 yards of backing, particularly for this size reel. Maybe if you were a little bit bigger and you're doing some fresh water, like carp really, but a bigger reel, you might take 200 yards out of typical backing. You know, the gel spun backing nowadays too, you can get super thin diameter. So what else do we want to do? Oh, drag. So positive click, you know, so you tighten her down forward, right, so it's smooth. I can start feeling it. A thing to check on with drag is, you know, you think about drag or line pulling off of a reel, it's picking up a little resistance in every single one of those guides. So just as a word of caution, always go a little bit lighter on your drag than you think. Again, all those guides, I mean, a fly rod's going to have, you know, anywhere from 11 to 15 guides, you know, 9 to 15 depending on the length. But each one of those is going to add just a little bit of resistance, a little bit of drag to a fish. So I guess what I'm hitting at is lighter drag on a reel, particularly smaller fish. Light tippets is directionally the right thing to do. The other thing you want to check with a reel is how that initial pull, right? That you don't want to have it grab hard and then the drag, you know, get to that, you know, normal thing. You don't want that initial pull of the line off to be, you know, a spike. So what I like about this, very smooth. I mean, you can tell a little bit of you know, that because of the little click to it, but it's super smooth at those lighter drag settings. Now, I haven't measured it, but at, you know, its heaviest drag, yeah, we're getting into 5 to 8 pounds at this point, and there's still some more to go. Yeah, so I mean, if you were to use this guy for salmon or something like that, you're going to have more than enough drag. So again, let's turn it back down. Switching it to right to left. So to do that, again, turn the drag back. You should, whenever you're storing a reel, you should really turn it back anyhow. Springs in there, you can get a set. It's just a good habit to get into. Turn the drag back. All right, to turn this from right to left retrieve, you're going to see a small spring clip in there, a little wire spring clip that's in there. So I'm going to use a trusty little multi-tool, and always be careful with those spring clips. I'm going to see if I can do this on the camera. What I'm going to do is actually hook onto that clip. I'm going to use my thumb to kind of block it in case it just takes off, right? Ooh. So don't Don't lose that guy. I mean, I don't know if you can see it. That's so we got the spring clip out, and the white in there is the clutch bearing. So we're going to pull that out, and we're going to flip it over. So you typically there's like a machined side on the other side. So let's drop it out. So again, it came out with the white, right? So we're going to flip it and drop it in. It'll flip it, there we go. Drops back in there. You know, let's do this again, because a good thing to point out, if you're ever going to do maintenance, there's a bearing in here, a little bit of, you know, sewing grease or sewing oil is good for that. A little bit on the clutch bearing, there's going to be little, you can see them, roller bearings in there. Those actually grip onto the shaft of the reel, the shaft right here, and that's what allows it to free spin, you know, when you're reeling in, or grabs down when the drag is working. So that's a clutch bearing, how that works. So all right, so we flipped it over. Oop. Flipped it over. We're going to put the metal side in. Right. We're going to lay that spring clip back in here. You're going to see a little nib you got to be conscious of. You know, in that. So get that in there. Smaller fingers would be nice here, but we'll get it. So there it is. Spring clip is back in. The little nib I was talking about is right here. You want to make sure your opening in that spring clip is right there. Retention all the way around. So the little corners of the spring clip are holding into the mating groove. All right. All right. So I'm a right-hand cast. So let's see how this is going. So should be kind of unnatural to me. So yeah, so there you go. I would want to reel in this way. Typically we switch it around, and you can see that that drag is working in the opposite direction. So again, be reeling that way. So kind of another thing to remember, your line, for folks just beginning, right, your line is going to come out of the bottom of a fly reel all the time. So kind of a quick thing to remember there. You know, it helps, you know, everybody's done it, but you're putting your reel on a rod as you're getting up to the river. You know, you start stringing it out and all this stuff, and then you realize, oh crap, the handle's on the wrong side. So again, remember, line off the bottom. So I'll probably show that in a little bit as I put some line on this reel. So I'm going to switch her back around to the other way, because it is opposite right now of what I use. Like I said, simple little task to do. Go through it again. White out for me. It's nice that somebody has engineered this in such a way that makes it so easy, switching right to left. You know, you only end up doing this like once or twice, you know, maybe over the course of the whole reel. So another point to mention, you know, it's a new reel, so it does have a little bit of grease on it already, or oil. This area is safe to oil as well. The things that sometimes you want to be comfortable or uncomfortable with in oiling or maintenance would be that drag. You know, getting some grease on the Delron drag. You know, it's a Delron and stainless steel drag. Isn't a good thing. It'll still work, but all right. So I've got. Let's change this back around, because again, it's going the opposite way from what I would do. So I'm a, you know, I cast right, at least for small river fishing. Saltwater folks will go the other way, actually, because you're stronger over a longer duration of time reeling with your right, so you can get that butt up against you, but then use your right hand or your stronger hand, right-handed, I'm handed, to go that way. Anyhow, enough of that. So let's switch it back around. Again, just doing stuff in reverse, right? So you get that lever, open her up, oh, you know, back off your drag. Get that lever, Open it up. Spring clip, right? So metal showing. We want to switch it around so it's in the white side. This is really a easy task, right? So we'll drop that spring out. Get our bearing. So switch it to the white. And drop it in. Put our clip. Lay it kind of in there. Get a couple corners set. Small screwdriver. Make sure it's retained on the corners all the way around in the groove. Pop it on. Right, so it's free spinning in. That would be my reeling in direction. Reeling out. The drag line coming off the bottom. The drag is starting to work there, right? So that is the BVK 2, size 2. So, you know, as we get going, I hate to take this little break, but go to guiderecommended.com fly-fishing-reel. So I've got a full write-up on that. So again, guiderecommended.com fly fishing reel. You'll put a dash in between there, and you'll see the full write-up of the BVK 2 on that site. I'll give you the stats that we talked about, the stats for all of the other BVK sizes as well, the weights, and then what it balances out with, along with the capacity. And I'll also have a write-up on the maintenance items that we talked about in this video as well. So a great reference, BVK, you know, on these reels. So great prices as well. Generally, they're going to be the same price everywhere. I got mine from Amazon. I was really happy with that fast shipping. It was like in 2 days I had it in my hand. So again, guiderecommended.com fly-fishing-reel. All right, we'll get back to spooling this guy up and showing you how it balances out. So demonstrating the balance of the fly rod reel setup that we got. So that's what you want to be looking for, is to have that rod balance with the reel, with it lined all that way, so it, you know, doesn't fatigue you. So high sticking, right? You're holding the rod up, and you want that balance. You don't want to have the extra strain of fighting with your wrist, that action of using the rod, you know. So again, that is our BVK 2 on the drift fly rod, the 3-weight drift used for Euro nymphing and demonstration of how it balances. So that's going to make for a nice comfortable day fishing. So thanks for watching Guide Recommended and stepping through my review of the BVK Fly Reel and attachment onto our drift fly rod. So check out my website, Guide Recommended.